Oh, we're back.
Okay, so you know what? A fun little fact though that I didn't know what I was gonna do right now. But anyways, so I did Mary Kay facial party, and she had said anything with mint in it actually dries out your lips more. So
Like
do not
chapstick.
use chapstick or anything with mint. It dries your lips out more. It's a scam.
So is chapstick. That's what they said. Your body, when you put chapstick on, your body quits producing the natural moisture on it, so you just have to keep using it more and more and more. At least that's what the study I said.
No, but I think there's some like Vaseline. No, is it Vaseline? Yeah.
So why were you putting Vaseline on
Or
your
petroleum.
lips?
No. The petroleum jelly. What's Vaseline? Anyways, don't take any tips from Makeup with Stephanie. I'm not a professional makeup.
Introing in the beginning of the work week, second day of the week, and we call it Money Monday.
Moody Mondays, really.
Moody. Maybe on a certain part of the population's calendar.
Moody. Everybody's moody on Mondays.
Is everybody?
Who's not moody on a Monday?
Well, I'm in a happy mood on Monday.
Anybody listening or watching, write in who's moody on Mondays. Coworkers, family, Roy. You know.
I'm my effervescent self as I am on every day.
You're a freaking delight every day.
Yes. Every day's a great weekend that you can spend at the races, as we did at the Winter Nationals on Sunday.
We did.
On that. It was almost didn't make
got
it.
Some cool stickers. I
Yes.
got this pin for my pops.
Of that, and it was a great day. It almost wasn't going to go because it looked like it was going to rain. But then as the weather gods did, they moved all the clouds out, and they got the 60th running of the Winter Nationals on. That we'll be talking a little bit about that later on. We got a guest from, I think, the head dog of Cruz Pedregon Racing is going to be on with us later on today. We might have, and I think we're going to have Doug Collette on tomorrow. He was the winner of the Top Fuel. That won 3 in a row. That's his third Winter Nationals in a row. And he's been in 5 straight finals at the Winter Nationals of that. So that's another great thing. And what was really great, what was really ironic, is the World Finals, are in October or November. The first and the final race are at Pomona on the NHRA drag racing. And at the World Finals last year, it was Doug Coletta, Jack Beckman, and Jed Coughlin in Pro Stock. And it was exactly the same at the Winter Nationals in 2020. So it was kind of like Groundhog Day. We just woke up and the same show repeated. But it was a great time on that. We'll have some
It was a lot of fun.
We got some pictures of that thanks to Jeff Nelson of MPG Asphalt. He got us up in his suite, which is right behind the starting line, which is an absolutely awesome view because you can watch him go not so straight down the track as they do, man. It's amazing how much those cars move around and stuff, and especially the Top Fuel cars now, how quick. 3.68 seconds
insane
in 1,000
feet
of that, and we'll get into that a little bit more later on in the show on that. But that was
he's stopping. You're not going on about racing.
Well, because I don't want to get
feeling
hit.
Okay?
No, I don't want to get hit.
Oh.
On that. The other big item that's happening tomorrow is, as I'm looking at the blank stare over there, the first in the nation primary coming up for the presidential nominees on the Democratic and Republican side. The traditional New Hampshire primary comes up tomorrow on that. And
wow.
We're wondering if there's going to be, they had a debate, Friday night on that in New Hampshire on that. We're wondering if there's going to be a big meltdown like they had in Iowa where they couldn't even count the votes after they castigated our esteemed president, Donald J. Trump, over Russia and tried impeaching him, and that backfired in their face. The Democrats can't even run a freaking election. I don't think it is. Biden was the big loser. I mean, he was leading in all the polls in Iowa, and everybody expected him to run first in that. And I think he was fourth when they actually did count the votes. He's way behind in New Hampshire. coming up. It looks like Bernie's going to walk away with that, which Mayor Pete's looking pretty good. He won Iowa by the skin of some margins, so it looks like he might come in second on that. So we'll see where it goes on that, but that'll be the traditional New Hampshire First in America primary to kick off the really kind of kicks off the 2020 election season for President of the United States of America.
Wow.
The highest political job you can have in the world, the highest profile job in the political process in our entire world is being President of the United States. Gets a lot of our focus on stuff. I'm hoping a lot of stuff because in a lot of trend and you see this national or we're making where everybody's syndicated this and franchise that and everybody looks at the president and stuff. But it just kind of sparks at me one of the things that was in stuff is attend your local what happens in your local community and around your local events and stuff is absolutely fabulous, and especially when you're living in Southern California. Like I know, I admit I'm very racing centric on this stuff,
No.
but you had a major league event, and the NHRA Saturday or the last weekend. That the big NASCAR race is coming up on March 1st weekend of that. There's a lot of great things to do. And like this, the drag races, I mean, you could get in for like $15. I think you can get seats as cheap as $40 at the at Fontana coming up for the big NASCAR race. And I will say this, and a lot of that, it's like $20 or $25 to get into the sprint car race at Paris, 10 or 15 at Orange Shoe, and I think $20 at Irwindale. Racing is a very very good bang for the your entertainment dollar, at least in my book. That you're not paying $300 for bleed seats like you are in a Laker game, or at a minimum on a 1-day deal at Disneyland, it's $100 a person.
Oh, it's more than that, dude.
And all this stuff, it's absolutely. I mean,
like $30 just to park in the freaking parking lot.
Yes, all that. I mean, that's crazy on some of this stuff. But there's a lot of events and things you can attend around here, and even that, and looking at that, because what happens in your local area is what really affects you most of the time. And I see ever increasingly we're ignoring that whole process of that going on, and I think we're doing it at our own peril on some of this stuff because we should. I think we're really losing that, and I don't know, but I think we're really in a lot of aspects, especially in California, we're losing that cohesiveness of community, of that. It's like everybody. I don't know. Maybe you do, but this is my perspective. More people are just more like. You don't see them or you don't talk to. It's amazing to me the amount of people that have never talked to their neighbors next door. Of that, it's like we all live in these little bubbles now. That
I think people just don't trust anybody like they used to anymore. You never know who the thing now is. You never know who your neighbor is. Is it like a murderer? Is it like a drug dealer? I mean, they're too scared to go into. I mean, I like most of my neighbors. I mean, I don't talk to all of them, but I live on. My setup's kind of weird, but. Anyways,
but no, I
like to talk to my neighbors. But I think a lot of people maybe more people suffer from like social anxiety or something, because a lot of people will be like, you just go up and talk to people like that. It's like, well,
yeah, it's like, and even so,
I mean, you do it a little more to an extreme where people think you're like, really, you seem crazy at first. But like when you're in the grocery line, like for somebody to turn around and be like, hey, how's your day, is like a totally like a weird thing now.
I know.
Somebody walked by earlier and said good morning to Lucy, and it was like, what? I mean, it was a trip. And it's sad that the world came to that. We need to do more of that. So go out and say hi to a stranger today and see how they act.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, talk to
I want to go up and just hug somebody, but then I'm scared they're going to deck me.
Yeah, that might be.
But I do want to go to the mall one day and test that. Remember how we talked to
it is because...
I'm going to let you do the hugging, though, now that it's all like germ season and 6 season.
Oh, is that your latest plot to get rid of me? Yeah. Yeah,
we'll go by the base.
Yeah. There's some folks over there that need a hug over there.
We'll go by March really quick. Sorry, I'll film.
No, it is, but I do sense that, and when you do talk to people like that or stuff, they, they kind of,
They look at you like
yeah,
you're
they're
crazy.
kind of like you're a little bit apprehensive at first till they kind of figure out at least you're not some sort of axe murderer or
Right.
something. But I do get that point. Is it's like it's unusual or it's like out of the norm for somebody to, hey, how you doing? What's up? Talk about, isn't this ridiculous that this hamburger meat's costing $87 a pound or something, or stuff like that. It's
These
but
eggs cost us. No, I'm
yeah.
just kidding. I'm kidding.
But
Or say
and
something
I
positive.
do. I mean, there's a little, a market right around the corner for me, and the garden there's really cool. We were got in a conversation. The guard says, "Yeah, I chase some shoplifters out in the street, and I catch them and bring them back and call the cops."
There you go.
And one guy, no, then this is what was surprising. This is what I just can't wrap my head around. One of the guys says, "Well, no, why would you want to do that? That's dangerous."
It is.
And I said, "No." I said back in the day, not only would the guard be doing that, we would all be jumping in, giving this guy a little lesson on why you should not be stealing stuff and taking it out of the store.
Right.
Because ultimately, that is going to cost me, you, and everybody else because the store has to make up that 100%. Stores only work on most grocery stores work on like about a 1.5% profit margin. They do a lot of volume, so they make a lot of money in the day. But if somebody steals something, that's got to be spread across all those products to bring it back. So that's got to jack every time somebody steals something out of a store. That's raising the price of your products a lot because they got to make up that whole 99 or 98.5% that they're not making. They've got to charge that to you in order to stay in business. So we are all the
Catch 'em.
ones that pay for that. And this weenie society we are turning into like the guy. I mean, it's just like totally. I understand that from the chick perspective on that and not wanting the violence and stuff, but from the guy perspective, that should be your natural reaction. If somebody is taking something or somebody's doing harm for you,
You take them down.
yes, you make sure that you prevent that and make sure that they learn that lesson one way or the other on why you shouldn't do that. And I think, like I say,
So you think the men in the world are soft?
no,
Becoming softy?
yes, they are becoming softer on all.
But
of
maybe
this.
because more women are solely raising these boys.
That's another great point.
Ooh, we're getting smart around here. Crap.
No, it is, and you can see the effects of single-family parents on that of that and the way it changes society. When you don't have that outlook on both sides of the coin,
Right.
that's why I say we were talking about the latest Taylor Swift man-hating song that came out, and
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that song is even legal.
and no,
I can't believe it's even on the radio.
Well, no, I can't because it's
People-
become predominantly, like I've said, there's a war on the straight white male. We get blamed for everything. They're trying to systematically cut off our blank. So, and they think that's going to make a antiseptic society where nothing's going to happen. And as I have said, be careful what you wish for. Because if you do that, if you take that out, what you are going to have, no longer the few criminals are going, and the cartels and everything are going to run everything, because there's going to be no resistance to that.
I don't know. I still don't. I'm not making a comment on that song anywhere.
But
Get sued or something.
again, and I think it's a very important point. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. It's again, like I say, static analysis will kill you 98.7% of the time. And we're kind of going through that with our school district because Bo Yarborough just wrote an article in the Press Enterprise about Moreno Valley Unified School District and their policies and things they have done after the Diego Stoltz incident where he lost his life when two students
Heartbreaking.
attacked him. And it was done. They interviewed the superintendent, Kezia Dora, on that and said, yeah, we're looking at everything and changing the policies. But one thing that's been a contention between Moreno Valley Unified School District and the police department and our Riverside County Sheriff's Department is Sheriff's Department started arresting some of these more dangerous kids in there or getting into fights or what. And Moreno Valley Unified School District was like saying, well, no, we're not really supportive of that. We want to do counseling and stuff, and which is great. Which is, if you go back to a Bo Yarb, or no, maybe it's a Brian Rocos article a week ago, where they had the same discussion with Paris Elementary School, and they said, yeah, we are implementing this stuff, but there comes that point of when the law enforcement agencies and their professional and the way they and their training can handle these more dangerous situations or when it gets to. It's not just saying that 100% of what Moreno Valley Unified School District has implemented is not, which is probably a good thing. You do everything you can to mitigate or solve the conflict at that point.
Right.
But when it starts getting out of your purview or out of your control or out of your expertise in dealing with it, then you've got to learn to step back and let those who can handle that, or let those with the tools, maybe let's say the cops, the criminal justice system, the courts, juvenile hall or whatever, to handle these. So when they do get into these situations, or we do not let them fester or think kids think they can get away with things. If one of the best deterrents, I think, is if you see somebody else getting punished for something,
right,
then that has an effect.
I think they would allow the cops to come. It depends on what it is, though. I mean, they're not going to have a
Moreno Valley Unified School District is having a big is.
But they hired on their own patrol staff, so why can't they be the
But
ones
that's
that
what
handle
they are against, or they are not for Riverside County Sheriff's Department's way. Once the situation gets escalated, they are having a big concern of the way the Riverside County Sheriff's Department is handling the situations and the court system, saying, oh, well, we don't want these kids damaged or punished or on the record, da-da-da-da-da. Well, why is Paris Unified not that concerned about it, or anybody else seem to be that concerned about it? Again, there's that line or that point where, okay, this wasn't working in this situation. Right. So,
but I see the police cars at the schools all the time.
Yes, but what they're questioning is the officers arresting kids who are getting in fights, habitually causing trouble, on and on and on. And that's what they're saying. Oh, well, we don't necessarily agree with that philosophy. Well, again, like I'm saying, in that at some point, if you are just like when evil walked in the Texas church, or if somebody's threatening or somebody's throwing a punch at you, that is not the time. You can't call time out. When somebody's firing a gun or threatening or a knife or throwing a punch at you, you just can't go stop the world, da-da-da, this is not happening. No, you have your best chance of survival or not getting injured or not being a statistic is having the training or stuff or being prepared to handle that situation when it comes. Right? Agree or disagree?
I agree, but I think that we should have somebody with the school district talk about that, because I think that maybe you're making it a little more dramatic than what it is. Not you, but maybe someone that's writing it. I mean, I would like to hear what their plans are and what they are stopping, because you don't know what these people want to arrest a student for.
I would love to.
What if it's because they threw a pencil at a classmate? I mean, are you really going to arrest a student for that? But if they're bringing a gun or a weapon on class or on campus, then heck yeah.
Even of the fighting part of it, and that and that's what they were arresting, some that were getting into fights, and we've had we had habitual, or there was reports or that of habitual fighting going on in that, because. Right. Nobody was stopping it, or nobody. There didn't seem to be any. There wasn't no consequences.
They've done a lot because there hasn't really been a whole lot going on these campuses since they've been up in their game. I mean, they really have done a lot to protect the students more and things like that.
And that's, I think,
unfortunately, the circumstances that brought that to light is horrible, but I think that they are handling it as
And I'm
best as they
saying
can.
part of that policy is the sheriff's department actually going in there and arresting some of the students that were causing a lot of the or seem to be causing the problem. So after that, again, it's like I say, that if the students are not seeing any any real punishment or any consequences to these actions, they're going to keep doing it. And at some point, like I say, you've got to draw that line or set that standard, or in a lot of cases, that's going to help them or turn them around or whatever. I mean, it's like I think it was Officer Tejeda said up there about the the issues of school suspensions. And people were saying, well, why aren't kids getting suspended? He said, well, talk to the legislature up in Sacramento. They're the ones who said we couldn't do this, or made it extremely difficult. We're taking tools away from the schools to actually enforce that. Are you going to let one kid disrupt the kid for the other 29 that are in the class? Just because we don't want this, we don't want to potentially scar the one, but we're going to we're going to make the other 29's lives more miserable.
Right.
And that's what the point of this is if they do see that there's consequences. It's kind of like the petty theft thing that we did, where we lowered the crimes of if you're not up to $950, it's a misdemeanor. You just give them a ticket and they roll out. And we're seeing, we've seen an explosion in petty theft because we don't have the capacity to punish it like we did before. So now there's really no consequence to the people of stealing up to $950. So you're seeing an explosion in that. So again, it's like if there's no punishment to stealing something, you're going to get more of it. Why are we snorting?
Because you never stop talking.
Well,
I'm drawing the line in this conversation because we talk about it way too freaking much. You know what I do want to bring up? Jess, if you can pull it up. I sent something in on the Facebook Messenger because sometimes it's cool just to have a little bit of fun. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jess?
Obviously not. Jesse's like,
can you throw it up? Because I think it's freaking awesome. I want you to go on about crap like this forever.
Rest in peace, Rosie the Roach. So we're celebrating.
In Texas University, this photos hit Facebook. There was a dead cockroach in the, and I can't see that, anthropology. Am I saying that right? Anthropology building?
Close enough for me.
Okay. Stairwell for at least 2 weeks, since an entertaining person now has made a little shrine. And then go through the slides. That is so freaking cute.
So how did Rosie the Roach pass away?
I can't see the comments, though, because there's little captions on there. You got to click on this. I'll put the link in the comments. It's hilarious. This is like days later or hours later. You notice there's like cigarettes thrown in there. There's a sucker, some money, some flowers, some bottle caps. Isn't that funny?
Yes. Well, what's the idea of throwing cigarette butts at the dead
I don't know,
rat?
but look it. And then they go to the extreme of putting little trees, building a little coffin, raising it up. That is awesome.
All over a cockroach.
They're having fun.
So
keep going. It gets even better. And then they add the animal.
Oh, now they got the we got the Jesus candles and the teddy bear on that.
The never forget sign.
Of that.
Oh my gosh.
Did the students do this, or was it the fact the students did this?
Students, yeah. With all the Post-its, they have like a little letters. I think that is so. And then they decided to cremate it.
Yes. So I'm getting this. This is what I'm talking about. This is a mockery of the system. Is where we celebrate. It's a mockery to me of celebrating. You're going to celebrate now cockroaches dying, when
I think it's cute though. I mean, they're making a big deal out of it for humor. I mean,
yes,
it's a cockroach,
and I think,
and it had been sitting there for a couple weeks. I mean, these students work hard, and staff. I mean, I'm sure they probably had a little.
But I'm thinking but them burning it and cremating it at the end is like I'm saying they're showing the absurdity of what our society is becoming. Oh, people, you're going to get all upset over a cockroach dying? What is wrong with you people?
I think it's freaking adorable. It's cute. It's funny.
Well, was it
It's-
funny when they torched his poor dead carcass?
I don't want to talk about it, right?
I love that part.
Of
That's
course you did.
because that's what you do with cockroaches.
Anthropology. Now it's gonna bug me. Now I can say it. Anyways, I thought it was cute.
It
It's better
was.
than your
No.
little. You're. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now.
What were
See,
you going
Susan
to
from
say?
Hooper Valley said it's funny. Thanks, Mom.
What were you going to say?
I don't even remember. It just. I don't know. Don't listen to me.
Well, you wanted me to stop. Now you're saying
Ah,
don't
crap.
listen to me.
Yeah, keep talking. No, I think that was really cute though. I think that we need to do that a little bit more. I mean, there's a bunch of critters in here I can do it with. But
Yes. Stephanie's going to...
like my pet spider that you killed that one time. I know you did. It's cool. Whatever.
So could we have a cremation ceremony afterwards?
If it involves steaks. And maybe some
Well, we'll have
corn.
to have a whole bunch of cockroaches to get enough fire to
Ew.
cook
No.
a steak.
This man, I swear. Someone help me.
No, man, that's a good idea. Maybe the essence of the cockroach will give a good flavor to your T-bone steak.
Wow. And it's sad because he's probably serious. And now you will never be cooking for me. That's probably why he did that, huh?
Well, I ain't as quite as dumb as I look.
I mean, anyways.
On to other fronts. After when we come back on the bottom of the hour here in a couple of minutes, you're not going to believe what is happening. And this time, it's not the California Department of Motor Vehicles, but it's the Nevada Department
What
of
is
the Motor
happening?
Vehicle. Oh,
Are
you're
you
not
gonna make
gonna-
me wait?
Yes, you're not going to believe this unless you're
You guys are holding out on me.
unless you're under the age of 30 years old. If you're under the age of
Damn
30
it.
years old, you will probably understand this. If you are over 30, it's going to absolutely blow your mind what's happening in the state of Nevada. I have
I could
said
easily Google it, but I'm not going to.
to all these people, do not let the cancer mentality of California spread across the nation. And it is. This is what I keep warning
So
about
the wait time.
of that. Well, I like to hear myself talk. So see how I engineer these little cues in here so I can listen to myself.
What are you talking about?
Of that. But no, it's the
Are you following, or am I like the only one that's lost right now with that? I don't know.
I just push buttons.
I want to. Can we switch jobs? I want to talk about dead cockroaches, so I don't know.
Well, I thought you wanted to stop about that.
I just thought it was cute. I mean, I
yes.
think people need to bring a little bit more joy into their life and have
Well,
fun
yeah,
with a dead
I-
cockroach. But that's
I
just
do.
me.
I mean, like I said, I take that as showing the absurdity of what our society is becoming. Because, yeah, I could see
I thought it was cute.
I could see a high school or a junior high or an elementary school class celebrating the death of a cockroach. The
Her name is
Rosie
Rosie.
I know.
the
God,
cockroach.
have some respect, Roy.
God.
What's wrong with you?
No, we don't. We don't have enough hours in the day to get into what's wrong with me. Speaking of that, well, you got a little bit of experience. What was wrong with me? You got your first taste
Oh my gosh.
Of the
my eyes
nitro
are still
burn
burning from that.
of that on that.
And the thing that upsets me the most is you knew it was going to hurt and you guys were like excited about it.
Yes, that's life. The nitro burn is life.
The hell is that freaking life? That was like painful.
Yes,
My throat hurt all night last night.
the intensity, the raw
My
power
eyes are still burning.
of that
It
going
was cool though.
of that car.
And you know what? I'm going to throw this out there. I was the only chick up there filming. And all the other little men went running. Oh my God.
Yes, well, it is because if you've never been to the drag races and stuff, because what's one thing cool about the drag race? They let you run in the pits where the cars are at. Well, especially the nitro, the funny cars and the top fuel guys. After they and we'll get into that. I think we got some pictures we will show that they
Oh,
totally
yeah, I have the
rebuilt the
video.
engine. of the race. So they take all that new rods and pistons, all that stuff in it, and so they fire the engine up, just to make sure everything's working right. So when they get out on the line, they don't want to have problems. But the amount, I mean, if you've never seen that, I mean, there's raw fuel coming out all 8 of the individual exhausts, like shooting like 20 or 30 feet in the air of that when they're firing up. And it's nitromethane. And the stuff is just like it burns your eyes, your lungs, and everything else breathing this stuff. But again, to see that raw power and stuff of going through the line, it makes that car go, from 0 to 300 plus miles an hour in 3.68 seconds is
1 minute.
That's why I say that is life.
I wasn't listening to anything you said. Jesse sent in an article. Is that really true?
I don't know. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Of that. So yeah, we got a minute left. Like I say, of that you're not going to believe.
What?
Of.
Okay. Anyways.
So now, what are you snorting over there on the engineering side?
Sean?
No, Jesse. Of that.
Hi, Sean.
We're gonna be back. We're gonna.
Hola.
Have you heard Taylor Swift's new song?
Oh, hell no. 30
There you
seconds.
No. Seriously, Sean. I'm going to send it.
No, I have not. I
need
will
to
not
hear it.
listen to
No,
it.
You
it
need
is.
to hear it.
It actually.
Pay me enough to listen to that
It,
crap.
No.
well, no,
You
it will
need to hear it.
absolutely prove everything we've said about Taylor Swift. You'll
Okay.
I'm so serious.
even
and you'll
it's
thank me, maybe.
even
never.
it's convinced this one
It's convinced me.
who was the biggest.
All right, here
I
you go,
wasn't the biggest
guys.
fan, okay? I mean,
When you don't get smooth, Blue Desmond Blend.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Here we are. We're rolling into KMET 1490 as we always do every Monday through Friday from 5:30 to 6 on that. We've been on IE Newswire Live and IE Newswire on Facebook and YouTube on that for the last half hours. We usually do Line 5, but thanks to all of everyone who's tuning in on the AM radio band 1490 KMET, the Mighty Met, where the awesome signal comes out of the great city of Banning, California on that, where Sean is sending that signal out on that. We got engineer extraordinaire Jesse here.
hey, Jesse.
Stephanie and me coming in on a
Money Monday.
on that.
I said Moody Monday, but you can also check us out on KMET1490am.com and download the app today for all Android and iPhone devices.
Wow. What's that?
Boom.
No,
What?
You're using all those high dollar terms that I have known nothing about.
Android and iPhone.
Yeah,
What?
Android. Yes,
Cell phone?
what?
It's not that thing that he's pushing over there.
Yeah.
Don't even tell me. Seriously?
Of the deal on that, him on the phone, Jesse on the telephone on that is funny as heck. But
Yeah, he's hilarious.
but no, we're going to do that. One thing, and I said I was going to preview that on the deal of coming up on the system of that coming up on the. You ain't going to believe what's going on at the Nevada DMV. It's absolutely incredible of what's going on out there on what you're not going to believe what they're trying to do to the driver's tests in Nevada.
I want to know.
If this comes up,
It's driving me insane.
if this comes about on the deal, we might as well pack it in because it's over for this society if this is where we're going with that. But as we did, and we previewed a little bit about that, the Winter Nationals were out at the Pomona Fairgrounds. That the 60th running of that particular race was started in 1961 of that, and they've ran it every year. Of that exciting racing, Doug Coletta, Jack Beckman won in Funny Car, and Jed Coughlin Jr. in Pro Stock, which was absolute repeat of the World Finals. But we have the manager of Cruz Pedregon Racing, which is a guy that started and goes way back. Actually, his dad was part of the Bean Bandits racing crew in the 50s. His three brothers, Frank, Tony, and Cruz himself, have been involved in all sorts of genres of racing, even in sprint cars and midgets and stuff like that, which I used to do on that. We have the general manager of Cruise Pedregon Racing, Caleb Cox, on the show. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
On that, tell us about your guys' weekend. It was a little bit one and done on that, but tell us how you're doing or how you're going to come back from that and hopefully win the 2020 Funny Car Championship with Cruise Pedregon.
Yeah, obviously it was not the weekend that we were looking forward to. Didn't really have many problems. We had some power issues, some dropping some cylinders, and then especially on Sunday, the temperature change really threw a curveball to everybody. You don't really see 75, 72-degree racetracks. So we went out there and actually dropped a cylinder at the step, and Cruz legged it. We tried to shut it off, but it ended up pushing the head gasket out and torching a set of heads into the day for us. But we kind of found the smoking gun on that, which is nice because we only made 5 runs in testing in Phoenix the weekend before. So we still need probably another 5 or 6 more runs under the car, under the current tune-up to really figure out the position where we need to go. So we're going to take this week off, really dial back into the notes, get back into the computer, and then come out to Phoenix next weekend swinging.
So since you're the kind of the guy that runs the business side for Cruise Pedregon Racing, what's the budget of, let's say, like a team like yours versus like maybe a John Force team or a Don Schumacher that's really up on that? I mean, what does it cost to compete for the year? How much money do you have to run one funny car 1 year on the NHRA circuit?
If you want to be competitive in the funny car class, if you want to race and potentially win a championship, you have to have a budget anywhere between $3 and $5 million per car. Now, depending on your sponsor or, whoever you have back in your car, Force back in the day, I've heard in the last, 5 years had a, $35 million budget. Schumacher obviously has a good amount of budget. So yeah, it is expensive. It's calculated if you take the parts cost, the fuel cost, the salaries, the hotels, the flights, etc. We're at about $10,000 every time that car makes a lap, and that's if nothing goes wrong. So financial backing is a must, corporate backing is a must, and to really make yourself run for a championship, yeah, you got to have that $3 to $5 million budget range.
Producer Jesse, have the pictures up on the IE Newswire post I had with that, because I want to explain that because that was Stephanie's first time at the drag races, and the first guy we walked, I think it was Bob Bodie. We first walked up in their chair. They got the motor all tore apart and all that, and I'm saying, they're replacing all of these pistons after that 3 second or 3.8 second run. All the rods and pistons are gone. They're replacing that and basically rebuilding the engine
every time
after every
that is crazy
round
to me.
of that. And yeah, like you said, that's plus 20 gallons of nitromethane. What at $100 a gallon per run? That 10,000 adds up real quick per run just to see that.
Yeah, correct. And it's a lot of work, for that 4 seconds of fun, and it could be. You could smoke the tires at the hill of the throttle and make a full lap and run in the 380s. But yeah, the service time, it's new heads, rods, pistons, clutch, fuel. We're about 20 gallons of fuel at in California, it's about $36 to $38 a gallon. It's $1,500 a drum or so. And we go through a drum of fuel every 2.5 runs. So it adds up real quick. And then, on Sunday, if you have kind of not a catastrophe, but a nice little pop and fire, the dollar signs keep going up. It's just the how they say, how do you want to become a millionaire drag race, and you start out a billionaire.
Yes, that's been the case with any kind of racing on that of what's going on, because people don't realize a lot the tremendous amount of expense and time and effort. Like I say, you got 4 or 5 guys that are rebuilding that engine and car, between rounds of doing that. There's we got the pictures up, and you're seeing the rods and pistons of that. And go to the next one on that. That's 8 rods and pistons. How much is it? How much are 8 rods and pistons? Just those pieces.
Rods go for about $100 a piece, and pistons are about $68 to $70 a piece. And to us, those are consumables. Those you can try to get if they measure out, because we measure everything after every run and you take it back into service. And if they measure out, you can get, hopefully 8 to 12 runs out of them, but more likely there may be one or two runs and then they're done. So, rods and pistons and clutch discs and floaters are big consumables for us.
Yes, and as I explained, the cars don't have a transmission. I mean, you do it by stages and clutches. I mean, there's sometimes they have up to 6 different clutch packs in that deal, and it's coming in on that because you have such tremendous amount of horsepower. If you just nailed the throttle and it was hooked up tight, I mean, it would just blow the tires off. But probably in my world, and man, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably the guy that maintains and services and tunes the clutch is probably the most important person of making that car go down the drag strip.
100%. I mean, if the clutch does not, work right, it does not have the right amount of weight on it, it does not, go off the timers correct, the car's not going to go anywhere. You got to take that 11,000 horsepower and get it to the ground. And a lot of people don't realize that we're making changes to the clutch, whether it be the timing of when it engages or the weight, almost all the way up until when we start the car. And when we put weight on the clutch, we do it by grams. So 2 grams of weight equals about 500 to 600 pounds of plate load on our car. So that 2 grams of weight, so if you can picture or think of like a 2-gram nut in your hand, could be the difference for blowing the tires off at the hit and losing the race, or running 335 miles an hour.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean that's probably like the weight of a lifesaver or something.
Exactly.
I mean that's the fine tuning and engineering, and a lot of it is you can do it, a lot of that, but a lot of it is an art. It's a way and that's what I'm saying is like guys, especially the guys that's tuning the clutch. I mean he's taking all these factors in, but there's that mysterious factor out there that you just kind of get the feel of experience of how to doing that, and that's something you cannot teach in a textbook. It's something that you have to learn after many passes on the drag racing deal, and actually doing it wrong and learning what works and what doesn't work and things like that.
For sure. And then we get a lot of guys coming out of tech schools, and when you hire somebody out of a tech school, you kind of tell them, forget everything that you just learned. We're going to teach you how we want it done and how to actually do it. So, yes, the clutch is for sure one of the most important parts of the car, and it takes a long time. You have to work your way up and become very knowledgeable about the car and everything that goes through it. And our clutch guy, Jay Reisky, who's been out here racing for probably about 15 years, he's probably one of the best guys in the business. And Cruz himself, not only, he built his way up as a driver, but he also used to work on the cars beforehand back in the 80s. And at one point, back in his early driving days, back in 91, when he was driving a Top Joe dragster, he was actually doing the bottom end of the race car, then jumping in the seat and driving the car.
Yes,
wow.
That was back in the day when you had to do that. And I was reading a little bit about your bio and stuff, and I think you may be having plans one day of bumping Cruz out of the driver's seat.
I don't know if I could bump him out of the driver's seat. With him being a legend, I would for sure love to have. We have the backup car, obviously, and we have a third car at the shop. And if I was able to get a marketing partner, some sort of sponsor to come out, I would love to run a nitro car against Cruz. Not as we're competitive. Me and him are. I see him just about every day of my life. We've always been together, and me and him are just about the same person. We're competitive at everything, whether it be us driving to the racetrack, who's driving more miles, who's right about this stat, who's right about that stat. So to drive or to race against him would be an honor. I'm working my way up through the alcohol ranks. I've ran an alcohol car a few times, and I would love to step up and run nitro because, there's not very many people in the world who ever got to do it. I've always wanted to be a professional athlete. When my football career ended, I tried to keep that dream of becoming a professional athlete at whatever I set my sights on, and I've been in the drag racing business for almost 10 years now. So the end goal would be to be the next Nitro Funny Car driver for Cruz Petragon, either as a partner or as a driver. So whatever I can do or see myself doing in the future to keep on that path is what I'm going to try to do.
So give them a plug on that. Plug your sponsors of that. Tell them where they're going to see Cruz and all the rest of the great NHRA competitors coming up.
Well, you'll see us here in 2 weeks at Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park in Chandler, Arizona. I believe we'll be there the 22nd through 24th. I'm predicting the Snap-on Tools Dodge Charger Nitro 400 car to go out there, qualify in the top 5, and hopefully come home with a Wally.
You got it. Thanks a lot for
Awesome.
thanks a lot for being on, Caleb, on that. With it, we really appreciate that you coming on and giving us an update on not only the Drags Out of Winter Nationals, but giving people a little insight of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on that makes that little 3-second journey
Yeah.
happen.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Have a good one.
Bye.
That was interesting.
It was.
Of that, yeah, and I think of that like we did, and run some of the more pictures up that we got, so we'll kind of do that before we get into the Nevada
I'll
story,
send that Nitro.
which is all the which is very interesting. I want to hit that before we get off the air, but yeah, run some of the pictures of that where you had the engine parts on and some of the stuff that was going on out there at Pomona on Sunday, because again, like I say, it was a great event. There's the winners. There's Doug Coletta. Hopefully, he was in Top Fuel, driving for Connie Coletta, and again, that has like a Merino Valley connotation because the plane that the coronavirus dudes came in from China.
The Nitro video.
Connie Coletta owned that.
These motorcycles,
Yes.
though, they were I couldn't even watch them. There's no way in hell will my kids ever be doing that. No
That's it.
offense to those that do that. I mean, if you do that, you're crazy.
200 miles.
More than that. No, it was almost 300.
No, the motorcycle's over 200 mile an hour on
Insane.
6 seconds down the drag strip of that. There's Stephanie after her little nitro burn
Oh, yeah.
confrontation of that. There now. These are the sportsman guys coming up. There's a '69 Camaro. These are the guys that are. This is a guy that might be down the street working on that car. You hear that loud noise firing up at 11 o'clock at night, and you're wondering what's going on. That could be this guy living down your street. These are the guys that race for fun, for the love of the sport. On
Those
that.
are cool cars.
Yes, and it's neat to see some of the stuff going on. There they are at the starting line. Roll through the next couple of ones on that.
Oh,
There's John.
Is that the
There's
video?
yes. There's John Force's funny car. Back up to that one. That's John Force's funny car firing up where Stephanie's getting her first nitro burn.
Where's my video?
Of
Oh,
that.
you know, I sent it to the show thread.
Of that. So yeah, click on the next one of that. Yeah, there's in the and if you ever have time, go by the NHRA museum. I don't even think it costs anything at the Pomona Fairgrounds. Go to the NHRA museum. This is Kenny Bernstein's dragster that's hanging up on the wall. There's a lot of drag racing history memorabilia cars going over there, and it's absolutely there's another one of the a hot rod truck that's part of the museum, but it's an absolutely fabulous museum. There's one of the junior dragster.
9-year-olds, 5-year-olds driving those.
5 to 18. You can get
what?
you can
No.
you can get into drag racing and that, and even the slowest ones were going almost 60 miles an hour in the 8th mile.
The 9-year-olds.
And the
Such a mom.
the faster ones were almost hitting 100 miles an hour in the 8th
Children.
mile.
I mean,
of that.
that's cool though. If you
There's Bob Bodie's funny car where they were taking apart all this, for just showing the engine parts like we were showing earlier when Caleb was on. There's a cool dog that was out there with his ear protection on and all that stuff. Because one thing, if you ever think you've heard loud, you've never heard loud until you've been to the drag races. And if you and there is nothing like the experience. If you are standing right at the starting line when these guys take off, the concussion and the noise.
I know, I want to feel that.
of
We
the
could feel
drag
it in the
cars.
room we were in.
Yeah, so even in the suites and stuff coming through the glass, you could feel just the
Right.
shake of that. Now, this is something that really impressed me, and this is something they started this year, the Nostalgia Pro stock cars. That's somebody that made a replica of Bill Grumpy Jenkins' 74 Camaro, which is something I would have watched as I was a kid. I mean, Grumpy was like one of the top guys way back in the day of doing that, and they had Bob Glidden. There's Stephanie, me, and Dwayne up in the suite. Dwayne, our regular caller in from Idaho that calls in. He's down this weekend, came down, so we were at the that's us up in the suite. courtesy of Jeff Nelson from MPG Asphalt here in Paris. So if you need any paving or stump, call up Jeff. He's a great guy. He'll hook you up on
Hey,
that.
can you go to the show thread and play that video really quick?
Play the video of that, and then have the Nevada story up. So because I want to cut that real quick. This is a little video montage that Stephanie made up of our little.
No, I was talking about there's a little
Which one?
I mean, we can play that one too. I don't care.
Well, which one did you want?
I sent him the.
Oh, you were.
Nitro.
The one. Okay, yeah.
Was it nitro? What was it that made my eyes burn? Alcohol?
Yes. John Force's car going up. Yeah, we got about a little small video of John Force's car firing up, so you can kind of hear what it is, but it's nothing like being there on that. Go ahead and play it. That's him warming up the car for the final round. John Force is the one. John Force, and hopefully.
Breathe deeply now.
Yes, breathe deeply on that when you're.
They were so excited to take me over there, and I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll do it. I don't care. You people are crazy.
Yes.
Oh, that burn! Like, imagine cutting an onion and then add maybe like 50 more. Like, tears were coming out. I couldn't even control it. It was crazy.
It is.
It was really cool, though. I mean, my throat burned all night, like I was saying, and my eyes are still burning. But, I mean, I guess you only live once, and that's part of the races.
Like I said,
I don't know how many brain cells died yesterday during that, and now I know why, some people, I don't know. But it was really cool. I would recommend anybody, not children, but adults, if you go and you can experience that, it's really
kids got to experience
like
that
that stinky flower thing that happens every so often in LA. I mean, everybody's like, oh, I want to go smell this flower. It's disgusting. It's kind of like the same thing.
Yes, play the Nevada.
I'm
That's
sorry.
what you play the Nevada video of the. You are not going to believe this one.
All right.
I mean, if this.
Parts of the DMV driving exam. Parallel parking is hard on its own, but especially when an instructor is grading your every move.
Nevada removed parallel parking from the driving exam on January 13th. While they don't think it's needed, I spoke to a student who says that this will create hazards for others on the road.
There's some people who don't really know how to parallel park, which I've encountered a few, and they're just like really sticking out of the street.
The DMV says that it can still test for parking in other ways, such as backing up, turning, and other requirements. A student I spoke with says new advancements in software make it unnecessary to learn how to parallel park.
With new technology, cars are able to park themselves in parallel parking, so I don't really think that it needs to be tested.
According to the DMV, removing parallel parking will save time since it will cut down on...
This was a big hurrah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You don't need
to
park.
Okay.
You do not need to learn to parallel park because the car is going to park itself. Where do we go? This is the reason why we're eliminating parallel parking from the DMV in Nevada. Are you people insane?
But I kind of got to agree with the kid. No, okay. But when I first heard that, I was thinking, well, cars are starting to park themselves. So that's probably the logic behind it. However, when I brought my car in, my car has a lot of those little features. The parallel parking is one of them, and it has like the little blind spot detector, so if there's someone in your way, it has a cute little triangle, and it's going to beep at me and tell me there's a car there, don't get over. If there's somebody walking behind my car, it beeps, it stops, it brakes for me. If there's someone in the front, same thing. So all these cars now, it's like insane how much driving they do for you. When I brought my car in to get it fixed one weekend and I had a rental, it didn't have all that fancy crap. Oh my God. Yes. I was like, I got to look. Like, where am I looking? I thought for sure I forgot how to drive. They need to get rid of all that crap.
10-4!
They need to get rid of all of it.
Yes, and that's exactly the point.
I love that we're saving children, so the backup stuff, yes, absolutely. If a kid goes flying, brake for me, please. But they're making driving, now you're lazy at driving. People don't even drive anymore.
Yeah, what happens if a kid runs out in front of you or something, or the guy on the other lane is trying to encroach in you and run into you and potentially kill you? Are you just supposed to go, the car's going to drive itself and take care? I don't have no responsibility for doing that. I can't. If you cannot parallel park a car, they need to take your driver's license away immediately.
Yeah.
No questions asked. I don't care if the car can park itself, and I get the technology of doing that, Well, what
you
if,
should still learn. I mean,
Yes.
just like if a car can drive itself, why wouldn't you want them to learn how to drive a car?
Exactly. What
Doesn't
happens?
make any
We've
sense.
seen the tests of that where the people, where they were doing that. What was it, a Tesla or something?
Mhm.
Where they were supposed to be driving it, and the guy's supposed to take over, and somebody walks out in front of the car, and blammo, this poor guy's splattered all over the ground, dead on a doornail, because the guy wasn't paying attention. He was sleeping because the car's supposed to be driving itself. Well, then. Again, and again, the mentality of that. The mentality of, oh, well, the car will just park itself. It's like free. Everything will take care of itself. We're in Oz. We're in the Wizard of Oz. Everything is the Garden of Eden. Nothing bad is ever going to happen. Da 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 or that. I mean, it is distressing to think that we are getting to that point in society where people can't even
But I mean,
think.
the world's evolving too. I mean, back in the day, you used to have to go like this to call home. Now you just push a button and it calls. I mean, was your family throwing? Oh my gosh! He has nothing
But I
to
can
say.
I can still dial that rotary phone.
I know. I'm just saying. Yes, and you
work
should.
it.
You know what? No, I'm gonna take my kids. Give me one of those. I'm gonna show them. Call mom and see what they do with it. I'll film it.
Yes.
They're not gonna know. And then in like 20 years, when my kids are learning how to drive, I'm gonna say learn how to parallel park, and they're gonna be what?
Yes.
Jeffrey writes in, they must test for everything.
Yes.
Exactly. I agree. I totally agree. But I think the times are just a car parking itself is cool. We need to embrace that, but test for it and learn how to do it the right way.
Yes.
Just in case your backup crap breaks, then what? You're screwed.
They should have a system on there. Every fifth time, the parallel parking thing on the car does not work, and you have to do it yourself.
Go every third.
Third is fine. See, now you want it. You want it even more. I was even going to give them a little more latitude.
Hey, I mean, I think
Mr.
it's like I'm
Mean
saying,
over here
I
was
know,
going to
you're
go
evil,
5. You
but-
know. This one, well, no, make it every third.
No, because by the fifth time, I'm going to forget.
I'd take the whole damn thing off if it was me.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Learn
but
to
really,
drive
I
the
think it's
freaking
cool
car.
that these cars, are smart and have all these safety features and bells and whistles and everything. But
Yes.
But when you go old school, be prepared to be lost. Because damn, I did not know how to drive that freaking car for like the life of me for like an hour.
And
it was
that's-
scary. It was scary.
Yes. and that's what I'm saying. It's like the whole thing is you cannot make an antiseptic society. It's of that where everything is that you've got to be responsible. And there's nothing probably more responsible in a lot of cases where you have responsibility when you are driving a car. Even like that, like you say, you can back over a kid or something or run over a cat or something just parking or doing something like that. It isn't necessarily speed that kills.
Right.
Of that. There, every time is from the time you stick that key in the ignition till you shut
What's
it
a key?
off. Yes.
I just have a button.
Of
My
that-
point.
Of that is no, you have an awesome responsibility when you're driving, and I want to make sure that if something that you are competent in driving that car and you're not, like you say, oh well, what happens if that of these situations, because you are the one ultimately responsibility of that car.
Susan writes in, I'm lazy, and she says hers parks herself and she's never used it. Jeffrey writes in, idiots. I agree.
There you go.
Thanks,
That's
guys,
it.
for tuning in.
We'll be back.
Thanks, Caleb, for coming on.
You got it. We'll be back on tomorrow, as we do.
On Taco Tuesday!
Taco Tuesday on that. Have a good day. I hope everybody had a great weekend. We
Go
did.
hug a stranger or say hi to somebody, freak them out.
Yes. That's your due for the day. As we usually say,
We're gone.